Let's call a spade here. The Avs are just playing bad hockey. Not just is it bad hockey, it's so much worse than what they are capable of, even with two of their best players out. They are so much better than this. Avs lose to the Dallas Stars 4-1. I don't have a ton to say about this game because it's basically a carbon copy of the last two the Avs played. They keep making the same mistakes and they keep having the same problems. A reduction in scoring without Rantanen and Landeskog is understandable, but not to the level of 2 goals in the last 3 games. They're better than that. And as a team, they know they're not going to score as much, so why are they struggling to get up for the start of games? They know they can't afford to go down and be behind for the entire game, and yet they continue doing it. Again, in this one, faster than ever, less than 20 seconds in. Girard collects a puck in behind his own net. He has clean possession and is going to reverse it himself to cut back in behind his own net. You're going to see Stars very aggressive on this forecheck. He has a man chasing him all the way in behind and does get pressured in the front from Pavelski. He kind of panics here. You're also going to see no one does a good job of helping him out. There's no assistance up the boards, which is a safe spot to go for him. McKinnon seems to be changing, not exactly sure, and EJ is just kind of floating in no man's land here. So Girard just kind of ends up running into a trap, tries to pass it off, but ends up just immediately turning it over. So this is a bad situation immediately. 3 Stars with 2 Avs, and one of them is lying on the floor. Not a great situation. Dickinson cuts across here and is going to try to cut around and make a pass or a shot that gets deflected through. Doesn't work out the way he was hoping. It gets deflected off of EJ, comes right to Sam. Sam has it. Does understand that he needs to get rid of this puck quickly, but had a full corner here, completely safe. Not ideal, but you're not going to put the puck in any danger. Instead, he slaps it directly back to where Dickinson is standing. Dickinson just fires this one into the net. There was a touch of contact between Pavelski and Grubauer on this play, but it was outside the crease. Did look like he got caught up with the stick a little bit, but certainly didn't seem to impact Grubauer's ability to make the save. However, Bednar did challenge it. Not really sure why you would challenge it. Looking at the video, it certainly didn't look like it would be goaltender interference. Maybe he's just trying to get his team going and saying, look, these starts cannot continue happening. Either way, the challenge fails and the Avs go on the PK immediately after. The Avs fail to do much of anything through the first 3 quarters of the first period. They do manage to kill off that penalty, but they don't register a shot on goal for the first 14 minutes. At one point, shots were 12-0 in Dallas's favor. The Avs were just an absolute mess. The breakout from the defense completely crumbles with any forecheck pressure at all, and Dallas was applying it quite heavily, to be honest. They didn't really seem to know what to do when they got pressured, and the forwards were not circling back to add support, so it was just a turnover machine. When the ice is that lopsided, pucks are bound to end up in the Avs net, and that is what happens. It's a pretty rough bounce, but when you have no shots on goal, that's going to go in your net eventually. Defensively, the rest of Dallas's goals in this game is pretty much the Avs being weak in front of their own net. This puck is going to get worked down low to Sagan, who's then going to work it directly out front to Faxa here. Faxa is on his backhand, and Cole is going to engage him physically, and it's simply just not going to do anything. Faxa gets 1 attempt. Grubauer makes the save, but the rebound comes out. Faxa is going to get a 2nd attempt as Cole continues to physically battle Faxa instead of trying to tie the stick up here. Again, Grubauer makes the save, but the rebound comes out. As Cole continues to chase this physical battle, Faxa's stick, still completely untouched, gets a 3rd attempt on Grubauer, who, again, makes the initial save. He gets a piece of this here with his blocker, but it continues to just flutter up into the air. You're going to see Grubauer and Donskoy maybe get a touch tied up as this puck is destined for the net as it just kind of flops down. Neither can get their stick on it. Even Calvert takes a whack and misses, and just right into the net it goes. Maybe you look at that goal and say, oh, that was terrible luck. But I look at that goal and say, Dallas absolutely deserved it. The Avs had been playing terribly. They played absolutely terribly on that play. The puck bounce went Dallas's way, but who cares? That's not what matters. What matters is playing quality hockey, and the Avs just weren't doing it. This game was also an absolute mess of penalties on both sides. Colorado took the first 3 of the game, but Dallas took plenty of their own on their side. I can't deal with talking about this terrible power play anymore, so I'm just going to give you the numbers, and we're not going to talk about any of them. Dallas went 1 for 7. Not particularly good, but better than the Avs, who went 0 for 8 on the power play in the game. For a team that already is expecting a reduction in goals, the power play simply must be better than that. End of story. So, the first 15 minutes of the first continues to be an absolute struggle. Then the Avs at least get a couple of shots on goal so they can say, well, you know, we weren't totally dominated, even though they pretty much were. And as time is winding down in a terrible, terrible period, they do that thing where they give you hope. And hope is good. It shows what the Avs are capable of. This isn't a particularly amazing breakout by Makar. It's a nice stretch pass all the way up to the blue line, but in this game, it was like finding a well of clean water in the middle of the desert. They were just extremely rare. Kamenev receives the pass in stride, gets into the zone quickly, and the Avs have a little bit of a rush chance, a 3-on-2 situation here. Kamenev is just going to drop this puck to Compher. A nifty little almost trick pass. It almost seems like he didn't even mean to do it, but it perfectly fooled the defense, giving Compher a perfect shooting lane at the top of the circles, and Compher just does that thing he does occasionally where he perfectly rips one top shelf. A beautiful goal, and one that the Avs really needed at the time to keep them in this game and make it a hockey game in general, but it also shows why this team is so frustrating, because they're capable of that at any moment, and yet there's no consistency at all. You would think something would have clicked in their minds with this goal, that rush chances are something they are capitalizing on, something they can take advantage of, but far too often, they just gave up on rushes in this game. It was just bad. I will give Compher credit. I thought he was a very bright spot in a brutal game. He played very well and was one of the few players on the Avs consistently generating those quality chances, trying to create on the rush. And so, Avs are only down 1 after the first, and that's not terrible. It really isn't. And this second period is where the shades of previous games really start to blend in. The Avs come out and they're playing better. They start the second period hot. They're controlling the puck and the team driving play, but they're not having anything to show for it. Controlling the puck is great, taking low percentage shots and not really giving yourself a chance to score, not so much. The Avs are kind of chugging along like this until halfway through the period, and then comes a penalty from the Avs. And this leads to the 1 Dallas power play goal. A lot of controversy around this one, so let's look at the goal first and go from there. Dallas is going to work this puck over to Klingberg on the far point. Calvert is going to be the man coming out to challenge, but a couple things I want you to notice. Cole is battling with Faksa in front here, and for some reason, when Klingberg gets the puck, he decides to, instead of tie up the stick, skate all the way around Faksa and try to get in front of him. I do not understand this play. I don't really get it. My only guess is that Cole is trying to block this shot, which, okay, but why? You can just tie up Fax's stick and trust your goalie here. And Cole doesn't really do his job effectively. Not only does this puck get through Cole, he does not block it, it hits Fax's stick and gets a deflection. Even so, Grube still manages to make the initial save with his pad, and the puck comes back out. Now Cole is completely out of the play. He has just completely taken every inch of his body away from the front of the net, which is bad. Zadorov tries to come back and recover again. Could have tied up Faxa's stick here, but does not. Faxa is just finding pucks with that stick. You think the Avs would figure it out. They can't. Faxa picks it up and just dumps it in. Now, you will see, if you were paying attention, that stick was very broken, which is something we will cover in a second. So Klingberg shoots here, and it hits Fox's stick on the shaft. It definitely breaks the stick. The stick is definitely broken well before he makes contact with this puck. It's just not exactly clear that it's broken. After the shot is made, the stick falls apart, and at that point, you know it's broken. So here's the deal. Playing a puck with a broken stick is a penalty. in the NHL. That is factual. Therefore, that goal should not have counted. It should have been a penalty on Dallas instead. You can call it a dumb rule. I don't necessarily disagree with you, but that is the rule. So what ends up happening is the Avs obviously realize the stick was broken, and Jared Bednar wants to challenge the play. Fine, all good here. There is a new rule this year that you can challenge plays where the whistle should have been blown to stop the play before the goal is scored in the offensive zone. You would think that a penalty would be exactly that. So the refs say, okay, let's go take a look at the play. They do. They call up Toronto, they look at the play, and they come back and say, the call on the ice stands. By the way, you can't actually challenge that, so it's a double minor on the Avs. First of all, who writes the rule book, and how does this keep happening, that edge cases exist where your rule is written terribly so these things get by? A penalty is clearly a whistle to stop a play. Why can't the Avs challenge a penalty in the offensive zone? That would have stopped the play. But let's say you can't challenge that. Okay, fine. It's a goal. It's going to stand. The ref should know what you can and cannot challenge. It should not be on the coaches to be like, hey, I want to challenge this. I know it's challengeable. They shouldn't give a double minor to Bednar. They should just say, hey, you can't challenge. Let's move on. I love hockey, but I hate the NHL rulebook. It really, really needs to be reworked. This was a 2-1 game. That was a big goal. Had the Avs been playing better, I'd probably have been more upset, but given the way things were going in this game, boy, I don't think it's the biggest leap in the world to say the Avs probably wouldn't have won even if that was made correctly. Somehow the Avs actually kill off the double minor, and the rest of the game was pretty much nightmare fuel for anyone who likes seeing power play goals. I mentioned the Avs were 0 for 8. They got 5 of those power plays in the second half of the game. A bunch of chances to get back in it. And on a fair amount of those power plays, Dallas actually got a better chance than the Avs did. So that pretty much sums up that. And any hope of a miracle comeback was squashed fairly early in the third. Turnover in the defensive zone coming up. You betcha. Still are able to find this puck, but shoot it to an area where there are no Avs. Don't look at all. Just throw pucks to places. You betcha. Does that result in a Dallas possession? It absolutely does. The Avs are not in a terrible spot here. They have all 5 players back. It should be just fine. You can see Kadri trying to direct traffic a little bit here, but it just doesn't matter. This shot comes through. It's actually going to miss. Completely miss the net. Go in behind the net. Zadorov, what are you doing, buddy? You're puck watching. Corey Perry, he knows what's coming. This puck goes wide, comes right out. Zadorov is a little bit slow to react. Perry actually misses the net here, but he throws it in off of Grubauer. Maybe a little lucky, but I mean, honestly, did it matter? That's just terrible hockey from the Avs. The rest of the third isn't even really worth talking about. The game was over. The Avs power play actually looked a little better in garbage time, but it was garbage time. Not a ton else to say. The Avs are going to continue losing games if they can't figure out how to start a game effectively. They're clearly capable of playing well. They do so in the second period all the time. You just have to do that at the first puck drop. The good news is that hot start means that they haven't totally collapsed here. Obviously, it's terrible hockey, and it has to stop immediately, but they can get away with it if they figure it out. And with every passing day, Mikko Rantanen and eventually Gabe Landeskog get closer to being in this lineup. I don't know what else to say. Play better. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching, and head on over to thednvr.com and consider signing up for a membership to get access to all of our premium content. It really is quality stuff. I am Rudo, and really, the Avs are better than this. I promise.